No hate, no hype, no fear. We are EFR, your protection from deception.
Welcome. We are broadcasting live from the mothership. You are tuned in and listening to Starseed Energy Radio with your host Jonah Bolt. Starseed Energy Radio, where you can always tune in to hear the colors and see the music. Starseed Energy Radio goes live in 3, 2, 1.
All right, what's up, Spaceship Earth? Thanks for tuning in. You are now receiving a live transmission from Starseed Radio, where you can always tune in to hear the colors and see the music. I'm your host, Jonah Bolt, the Octorian Starseed. Today is November 3rd, 2015. I can't believe we're already in November. The time is flying by. We are broadcasting live from the beautiful Parita in Costa Rica on the Pacific coast, up in the mountains, beautiful lush green jungle and rainforest. So good to be back. We have a great show lined up for you today. We're going to be doing a special series on gold, the properties of gold, the abundance it can create, all the history of gold over the next few days. We're going to be joined by several different people talking about some amazing new gold exchange systems, the history of gold, and focusing a lot on this amazing, as I'm learning, this amazing mineral and element. With that, before we get started, just want to give a couple of shout outs. Check out starseedradio.com for the latest news and updates, as well as check out Starseed Technologies for some of our latest new technologies we are representing. And email us if you want some information on some free energy. You can fill out the form at starseedtechnologies.com. As well as the last website I want to give out is starseedgold.com, where you could sign up for a free gold savings account. Contact me direct if you have any more questions on that. Check out starseedgold.com. Now to get started with our daily quote of the day. I found this one because over the weekend in the U.S., they set the clocks back, I believe, or forward. I'm not sure. They don't do that here in Costa Rica. I'm not sure why we do it in the U.S. I think it's for farmers, I believe, something like that. But the quote goes like this: I will not turn back my clocks. I will then be living 1 hour in the future. I greet you, people of the past. Your ways are quaint. That quote is by an anonymous person on memegenerator.net. And with that, we're going to introduce our special guest of the show. I asked Peter Sterling to come on today. Peter has been a guest of Starseed Radio before and always has some amazing information, giving us the breakdown of not just his amazing playing of the harp and music and being an artist, but also on his amazing path and history of bringing enlightenment through his music to so many around the world, which is why he joined us last time for our very special 9/11, a tribute to 9/11 show we did with Richard Schulman. And what an amazing show it was. He played the harp live on the air. And with that, thank you again, Peter, for joining us on Starseed Radio. How are you today?
I'm very good. Thank you, Jonah, for such a stellar introduction. I appreciate that.
Absolutely, and thank you for just all the amazing work and service you're doing around the planet, and the amazing gold that we're going to be talking about today that has been reintroduced, I should say, into people's lives. It's an amazing thing we'll be talking about. But before we get started with that, Peter, I'd like to just take a few minutes, if you would, and just give everyone a brief history about you yourself, your awakening, and then how you got into your music and artwork, and then we can carry that into the present. But just a little brief history, Peter, just so people have a background on your amazing work and path that you've been traveling so far.
Okay. Well, I'm talking to you today from Sedona, Arizona, from the powerful red rocks here, from the planetary vortex of Sedona. And I've been living here for several years, actually on and off for 25 years. And, you know, so much has happened to me in my life. I actually wrote a book about my journey called Hearing the Angels Sing. That's on Amazon. You can see it there. But I was lucky. I had a grandmother who was a mystic, and she was a soul traveler. And so ever since I was a young boy, she started whispering things into my ear to help me to tune in. One of the main things she told me, Jonah, was to listen to your inner voice. She always told me that ever since I was young, listen to your inner voice. And so I've been tuning into that for a long time, and it's led me down quite a remarkable path of discovery. But in most recent times, and I'm most well known for my music, as you were mentioning, my harp music. I came to Sedona about 25 years ago, and I was led here on a vision quest. And I ended up living in the canyons. I got a Volkswagen van and lived in my car here for 3 years in the early 90s. Slept every night out in the canyons amongst the Indian ruins and lots of UFOs happening and all sorts of stuff going on. But one of the main impactful things was the presence of silence in the canyons. And so I immersed myself in deep meditation, in profound silence there in the wilderness, and a series of mystical experiences ensued. But by going so deeply in the silence, I began to hear, when I was able to get completely empty, and there's an old saying, silence is golden. So when I really was able to tap into emptiness and just that quiet still point within myself, then I started to perceive an illumination of golden light, in my inner vision, and then everything around me seemed to take on a halo of gold. And then simultaneously, I began to hear the subtle strains of some sort of music. And then as I tuned into it, it became clearer and louder, and all of a sudden I was, beholding this grand orchestral symphonic heavenly music, unlike anything I had ever heard. I actually thought somebody was in the forest with me with a portable stereo playing some classical music, but then I realized that I was tuning into it, and it was like the music of the spheres. And then following my inner guidance, I was directed to allow the music to take me on a journey to surrender to it, to let go. And I was, dabbling with some astral projection, out of body type of work. And so I just allowed myself to be carried on the sound current, and I was taken out of my body, and I went up into the golden light. And very similar to what people who have had near-death experience report. And there I saw the luminous sphere of golden light that was just pulsating pure love, which many people have reported who have seen this. And there, to my astonishment, it was surrounded by the multitudes of angels who were surrounding this luminous orb of golden light. And the music was just amazing. It's hard to describe, but I was given the mission because I was searching for a mission. I knew I was a star seed and a light worker, and I had certain missions leading up to that point, but I knew I had a mission upgrade coming. So then I received it from the angels who came as messengers to me, and they told me that my life purpose, my mission, was to be a channel for the heavenly music and to bring that to earth at this time of great transformation and awakening, because the frequencies of sound and music can affect consciousness, as we know. And so that's what I've been doing, primarily my music and also my art. I'm a stained glass artist, and now I'm doing these crystal frosted glazed canvases of sacred geometry, and people can see that, by the way, on my website at harpmagic.com. So that's my background, is mainly in the arts and the healing arts, visual arts, and music. And then I also live here in Sedona now, and I take people on sacred land journeys out to the canyons, and I take them to the places where I heard the heavenly music and met the angels, and I facilitate an awakening to that miracle for people who come here from all over the world. So if any of our listeners are coming to Sedona, consider looking me up when you come and going on a backcountry journey with me. So there you go.
Excellent. Thank you for that, Peter. I think one of the things that stuck with me most when you were just telling your story was what your grandmother used to tell you, which was, listen to your gut. And my grandmother used to tell me the same thing. And I still am learning that journey in itself, because for me, my gut has always told me the truth in the right direction. But how a lot of us have been programmed is to think about it and not listen to your gut and heart. And that has been a big issue with myself. So that's such an important lesson that you said right there. I just want to bring that up again, because your gut is always on point. It is the truth. And the more we can tune into that in your heart space, the easier life will guide us, I believe. And I've seen that just in the last few years of me opening my own heart up and listening to my gut. So I just want to also, talk a little bit about Peter, before we get into the gold and the metaphysics of it and the whole, talk about what has happened in the gold realm. I'd like to talk about some of the issues that we're seeing so people have a background, because a lot of people, Peter, as you may know, do and do not sometimes pay attention to what is happening around the world. And a lot of people I've seen in the spiritual New Age community, sometimes go off grid and shut the outside world off and things like that. To me, I'm always trying to bridge the world. I consider myself a world bridger, and I think that's what we're doing here is bridging these worlds to create an abundant lifestyle for everybody in every way, with food, with water, with education, creating these sustainable communities and growing your own food and taking it back to the basics. And then when you go back to basics, you also have bartering, simple systems like that have been used for thousands of years that worked. There wasn't like these systems were broken and didn't work for ancient civilizations. They did work. So we see a resurgence of this coming back. And with all the turmoil going on around the world, we see the wars and this and the fiat currency that's plagued this world with the bankers. If you could, Peter, maybe give us your background on how you see things right now, stability-wise around the world. I see there's wars happening. We know the dollar is a fake currency being falsely inflated. These are very rocky times, to say the least. But I think there's a lot of new ways and systems that we can get off the old one and onto the new. What are some troublesome, things that you see on the horizon, Peter?
Well, I've been tuning into this planetary transformation for about 30 years, and one of the key time points for me was December 21st, 2012, and I had been aware of that date for about almost 25 years. I met Jose Arguelles, one of the originators of bringing the Mayan calendar to popular culture. I met him back in the mid-80s. How lucky
you are.
Yeah, I met him in '85 at a party in Boulder, Colorado, and that inspired me to read his books and to do more research on my own and travel to the Maya lands and go to the pyramids and do my own research and everything. But leading up to 2012, there was great anticipation, and then 2012 kind of came and went for many of us, kind of without a much of a show. And then after that, I kind of went I have a young child, so I have a 4-year-old boy, and so he's around 2 years old in December 2012. And after we went through that threshold and there was no mass ascension or no massive earth changes or anything.
No spaceship landing.
Yeah, no spaceship landing here in Sedona, which we always were waiting for. I kind of was like, back to chop wood, carry water, back to the mundane things of life. So I kind of just stopped tuning into the cosmic airwaves for a while, for a couple of years. I took a nice couple of years off. But then just recently, this summer and leading into the fall, there was like a little voice speaking to me, time to wake up again and take a look and see what's going on in the world. And indeed, there has been some great changes occurring. The fall was full of all sorts of events going on that had great significance for the world, with the Shemitah year and things going on at the UN and the Pope coming and, different things happening like that. So I've been tuning into it a lot lately. And of course, we do seem to be in an accelerated phase. And even, Tom Kenyon, who many of your listeners are probably aware of him, there's a new documentary out about his sound healing work, and he's been a channel for the Hathors for quite some time, maybe 15 years or so. And he released a newsletter recently because I'm on his mailing list. He felt this fall was, the chaotic node of which we were entering into. He had never seen anything with such a critical nature, and so he was calling on all people in his group to do these planetary meditations to help to counteract some of the dire things that were happening. But indeed, there always seems to be something going on in the world that is requiring our attention to pay attention to, and so I don't want to speak about anything specific right now unless you wanted to, Jonah, but I do think it's a time to wake up, and as you said, a lot of our friends live off the grid as far as information about what's happening in the world. They don't pay attention to the news or financial news or anything political like that. But I think it is a good time to tune in because there are some great changes sweeping the planet, especially with the global currency reset and global economics. There's big going on. Many of us have been tuning into this for many years, especially with the global currency reset, the dinar revaluation, and other related things, right, Jonah?
Absolutely. I've been following the dinar for, probably about 5 years now. And I definitely agree that people just need to be aware, and not harp on the news. I know a lot of people just shut that down, and some people are okay and content with that. I personally had never been okay with that because I have always been under the understanding and taught, as some of my guides and elders have taught me, is you need to be aware of all your surroundings so you can make the best well-informed decision you can for you and your family. And without knowing what's going on in your world around you, because this whole planet is our world. We are all one with the planet. We are all one with humanity. And if you just shut parts of it down, I don't care what's happening in China, or I don't care what's happening over in Iraq. Those are our brothers and sisters, man. You're just cutting that cord and shutting them down. We could send light and love to anyone and reach anyone anywhere on this planet. That's how magical we are as individuals, and how we can, affect this quantum field that we're living in. So, let's get real, and rather than shutting things off and living in sort of that fear, the news, it's bad and I don't want to do it, make the best decision you can. It's okay to see what's going on and read the headlines, which is why we go over the headlines here at the radio. And not that we go into the stories and harp on it and go into details, but just to make people aware, hey, this is what's happening in the world today. And it's very important to pay attention to the signs and events like December 21st, 2012. Like you said, a lot of people were expecting this and that. I was down at Chichen Itza, and in fact, it's funny you said that because last night I was just watching some of the videos I had filmed at Chichen Itza, some of the footage I'd never even seen before of the Mayan kings doing ceremony the morning of, and us walking all in white with candles, thousands of us. There's 40,000 people at Chichen Itza. The president of Mexico came. I mean, what a powerful day. And, what I noticed is that the lights were turned on then. It was like the energy since that date has been fully on to support us. And that's how I see the end of that one period and the birth of the age of Aquarius, is we're now living in a time where the magic is on. It's the light is fully supporting our most ambitious dreams, and this is the time where we can really co-create an amazing, beautiful world together, and we see that we see that happening. India last month announced it. They're now doing a open source free energy. And they're dumping a lot of money into it for a whole country. Kesh Foundation, there's a lot of movement in the free energy world and quantum world, and we see the shift going that way. The train has left the station. India is 20% of the planet, 1.2 billion people, I think. So you're talking when governments like that make statements that there is a new shift towards the consciousness of the planet, and that's exciting. And that is what's really I see from the headlines. Is I look for headlines like that, like, wow, that's really happening. And as that happens more, the wars and things like that will slowly dissipate, because as we co-create a future and create systems that create abundance, we don't have these wars over oil and resources and things like that, which has been the pinnacle of a lot of these wars. So very important stuff. Pay attention to the world around you. Pay attention to this. And always do your due diligence and check this information out. I posted a quote a few days ago. Don't listen to anyone, that says this, and don't listen to anyone says it was basically saying, do your own research, listen to your internal, go by your internal guidance. So we now go into the gold, and we could start a little bit like that. If you would, Peter, I know a little bit history about the gold, that gold has been used in mostly every ancient civilization that I know of, the Mayans, the Egyptians. It was held very highly in their civilizations. They didn't just wear it to wear it to look good. And just recently, the last few months, I would say I'm just learning more about the metaphysical properties of gold and the amazing things it does in healing and clearing energy and things like that. But if you would, Peter, give us maybe just a little history lesson on what you understand the history of gold is, what the ancients used it for, or whatever you can tell us about the history of gold from your perspective and what you understand.
Yeah, well, like you, I've been getting kind of a crash course in the properties and the values of gold recently. It's come into my sphere, and many of us believe in the dawning of the golden age of man, the long prophesized dawning of the golden age, and we can certainly see, as you were talking about, free energy, the Keshe Foundation, and we're really standing on the threshold of a golden age here, and a part of the golden age is abundance and prosperity for all. And I do believe that gold plays a very important part of this. Now, because I've recently gotten involved with helping people set up gold savings account because of, in the global economy, there's huge changes sweeping the planet, including the BRICS Bank, which is the new world banking system that's come online just this year with Brazil, Russia, India, and China. The BRICS banking system is attached to the Shanghai Gold Exchange, so this is an alternative to the IMF, to the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank, which basically makes loans to countries.
That's huge.
Yeah, it's a huge thing, and use dollars. So that the BRICS banking system is, Russia, China, India, Brazil. They're moving away from the dollar, and they're doing gold because the BRICS banking system is completely gold back, attached to the Shanghai Gold Exchange. So this is a very interesting development. So we're kind of in the middle of currency wars, big changes globally with the world finances and the global economy. So everybody is racing to gold. If you're paying attention, all countries are trying to acquire as much gold as they can, because many people are saying, and it looks to be true, that we are going back to the gold standard. And a lot of people don't even know what that means, because now before 1971, every dollar that was in circulation in the U.S. economy had the equal amount of gold in the vault at Fort Knox and in the central bank. But then in 71, Richard Nixon untethered the dollar from gold, and that was the beginning of the fiat currency, and the dollar became the world's reserve currency, but it was no longer backed by gold. That's when all the money printing started. So there's a lot to review and learn about that, but and now it seems like there's a trend to move back to gold. And even in the last 3 months, there was something in the news how China told all of its citizens to acquire gold, and China is, it's acquiring the most gold almost of any country in the world right now.
For years now, they've been buying gold.
Yeah, and so I think all of us should follow suit. And so we're on a great mission now with our gold exchange business with Carat Bars, which we'll talk about, to get everybody to start to acquire gold. This is the movement and the mission of Carat Bars, is to bring gold to the masses of honest people around the world to help stabilize the economy of the middle class and even the less fortunate, to make pure gold bullion available to the masses, because it had been out of reach and it had been a gain for the elite and the super wealthy and governments and royalty and whatnot. But so I believe the golden age, part of the plan is for all of us to acquire gold, to hold gold physically, because of the inherent vibration in gold is just amazing. The more I learn about it, I'm amazed by it. Actually, apparently gold comes from stars. It's actually, cosmic stardust from like supernovas, explosions. And then it comes into the Earth's atmosphere and condenses into the gold nuggets. So gold has within it that star energy. It is a solar energy. It's a golden solar energy. And this is why the Egyptians, the Mayans, the Incans, Sumerians, they all loved gold so much, because they were all sun worshippers. And they knew, that the inherent power of the metal of gold. It's perhaps the most powerful alchemical substance known to man. And it has a lot of unique qualities, the way it works on people. You had asked me to look up some of the metaphysical properties of gold. I can just read a little bit here. This is
Sure.
from the
If you would, Peter, just hang on 1 second, because we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then when we get back, we'll have a full segment. But just so people know right now, I just want to give out, you can go to starseedgold.com is a website where you can go and set up a free gold account with what Peter's talking about. And the metaphysical properties is so amazing to learn. I'm learning them myself. And I just learned myself too, Peter, last week that not even a week ago, a few days ago, 5 days ago, that gold comes from stars, from exploding stars. It's not made here on Earth. It's something that I wasn't taught in school. And the more I looked into it, I saw History Discovery Channel did specials on it. I mean, fascinating. It's gold has come here from other planets, literally from stars. It's like, the raindrops of stars, and there's definitely a reason for that. So hang on right there, Peter. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We're talking about the Golden Age with Peter Sterling. We'll be right back.
Jah will be waiting there, we a shout. Jah will be waiting there. In this world of calamity, dirty looks and grudges and jealousy.
Waking up the masses with Robert Bruce, Monday through Thursday on Truth Frequency Radio.
Hello, citizens of America. We are anonymous, and we have been observing as your country's leaders have lied to you and placed your freedom and your constitutional rights into jeopardy. We are very disappointed about this, and we have decided to take steps against what you are facing. The world is watching America. We are also watching. We are anonymous. We are legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us.
All right, welcome back to the show. You're listening to Starseed Radio. Check out starseedradio.com for the latest news and updates. We're talking with Peter Sterling, talking about gold, metaphysical properties of gold, the history, what's happening around the world, new energies, a little bit of everything. But the focus is gold. So before we left a commercial break, Peter, we were talking about how we're both learning more about gold and how gold has come from exploding stars and traveled here. It's amazing information I've been learning myself, but you're just about to go into some of the metaphysical properties of gold. So I really want listeners to check this information out. When you hear it, Google, watch some YouTube videos, and learn this information, because this information is what I truly believe the ancients knew, they had an understanding of, and they used this metaphysical properties of gold for the betterment in their lives and their kingdoms and throughout their civilizations. So with that, Peter, thanks again for joining us. And if you'd like, you could pick up right where we left off before commercial.
Sure. And I was just listening to you speak. A thought came to my mind that, as I've been reaching out to my friends and family and spiritual community about the power of gold and the opportunity with gold, it's pretty common that I find there's a lot of judgment out there within the spiritual community about gold because of the beliefs wrapped around it. People have a lot of trips and belief systems about gold and money and prosperity and wealth and what that means. And I've seen a lot of people turn away and put up a hand. No, gold is not where it's at, man. it's the gold in your heart. That's the only thing that matters, or the light in your heart. But I really find that there's what's been shown to me recently is to get to know gold, to come into resonance with the gold frequency. It's something I hadn't really done before. My last name is Sterling, and so I've been more attuned to the silver, the lunar energy of silver, the feminine lunar, and I think it's very common for people. But now I've been for the stage where I'm at in my life, Spirit has come to me because I've achieved a lot spiritually with my music, with my art, with my healing work, and I've been very blessed. But as a free, independent artist and healer and starseed, a lot of us just kind of live in the moment and we skate by just on the graces of spirit. But what was told to me is now to link with the gold energy, which, for millennia has signified wealth and power. And for me to connect with that energy now to show that we can be spiritual, we can be star seeds, we can be light workers, visionaries, spiritual conscious community, yet we can also have prosperity and abundance and wealth. And so, because I know a lot of us, including myself, have pushed that away. I thought it was more spiritual to be and more spiritually humble to not have much, to turn away from acquiring money and wealth. But I think that was that belief system probably created a lot of suffering and struggle for me. I was just looking online. One of my favorite websites I've recently discovered, Joan, is called Shimmerlings. SHIMMERLINGS.com. They have all sorts of gemstone information there, but they have some beautiful writings on gold, and I just thought I'd share with some of our listeners.
Absolutely.
And I also remember back in 2006, I was lucky enough to travel to India, and I traveled all overland through most of the northern part of India. And I went to many sacred places, but the final place I went was a place that to me in dreams and visions for many years was the Golden Temple, Amritsar. This is the most sacred place for the Sikh religion. And so I traveled for days overland to get there by car, but I'll never forget the energy there at this Golden Temple as I sat on the banks of the sacred lake with the Golden Temple floating on this lake of nectar, and all the faithful walking around it and singing these glorious songs. And as I sat and meditated on it, this is like the largest golden object, I think, probably in the world. And the energy coming off of this temple was just extraordinary. I mean, I had like full Kundalini kind of Shakti awakening. And, this is where Kundalini yoga comes from. And I see why, because the energy vortex there and the power generator of the Golden Temple is amazing. But I feel blessed to have been able to experience that. But on Shimmerlings, it says about gold, and it has a lot there to read. So I suggest people go there, take a look at it. But the energy of gold, this is the magical gemstone properties of gold. The energy is projective. The element is fire. The planet is the sun. The deities associated with gold are Baldur and Helios, the sun god. Powers of gold are wisdom, protection, and success. And the candle color to burn, of course, is gold. It says here, intimately linked with divinities, gold is particularly useful with any and all deity associated with the sun. Magicians working exclusively with the sun or solar energy wearing gold during rituals is said to assist in attuning with that power source. Gold is the most magically potent of all metals and is utilized to lend its magic energy to rituals. Worn during spells and rituals, it will enhance the ability to build and send forth energy where it is directed. When it is given to another unconditionally, gold will bring illumination to the giver. As a symbol of the sun, it is often used during success rituals. Isn't that interesting? I'm going to just read this again. When it is in bold, will bring illumination to the giver. This makes me want to give our little gold carrot bars as gifts to our friends who love the holiday season. Wouldn't that be great to do? Also, what I learned, Jonah, is that, you know, according to the Bible story of Jesus, when he was a baby in the manger and the three wise men came to him, the first thing that they gave him was gold. And there was probably a reason they wanted to give him the energy of gold right from the bat. Are you there?
Yes, Peter. I was just listening. I didn't know if you were finished reading or not.
Here's another thing. Let me read this. This is about the healing properties of gold. Gold is traditionally called the master healer. It is an excellent substance for purification of the entire body. It actually enhances the immune system, producing an energy that is both receptive and cooperative. Gold allows for extensive use with gemstones, as it is capable of attracting, holding, and stabilizing the influence of any stone one chooses to use. Told to assist with the functioning and rejuvenating of the endocrine system, and told to enhance mental faculties and the nervous system. And by the way, as I was watching the World Series the other night, the pitcher, I think it's for the Mets, he had a total bling around his neck. He was wearing a huge gold necklace around his neck. And perhaps he was doing that for the power it was giving him, because of it's told to enhance the mental faculties and the nervous system. And actually, Joe and I, we've talked about this before, I've recently started eating gold every day, taking a nano gold, a colloidal gold, in a liquid form. And actually, there's a long history of taking gold internally. And I want to refer your listeners to a company I found, and I really like their product. It's mountainwellbeing.com. And look at their colloidal gold and read all the information there about how gold affects the brain. They've actually found that nano gold goes directly to the brain, and it coats the all the nerve endings, the synapses. And they find that they've done studies and testimonials attest to that after 30 days of taking colloidal gold in larger doses, that people report an increase in IQ of, like, it's either 20% or 20-point increase in IQ. And there's many testimonials on this website of business people and entrepreneurs who started eating the gold every day, and they found that within a very short time, all of a sudden their businesses and sales increased dramatically when they started eating gold. And so I've been taking it internally now for a couple of months, and I found that to be the case for me too. So I highly recommend people check that out. Let me just finish here by reading, gold is told to assist, now I already read that, regenerative to the tissues as well as the skeletal structure. It is said to be able to balance the left and right brain to help with physical coordination. So once again, perhaps this is why the pitcher of the Mets is wearing a huge gold necklace around his neck. So that's interesting, huh?
Absolutely, and just so the listeners know as well, there's so much information about gold in the history. I was just Googling on YouTube, the last week or so, and seeing so many documentaries from everything from the history to uses of gold. And just like you said, I believe that the high vibrational gold was understood, and I believe that too, by the ancients, and they used it as a tool to help bring in those energies and ground and bring in those frequencies in ceremony and different stages of the life of people, using it for different ways to heal and to help and to bring abundance, and there's so many different uses for it. So to really learn and understand the history of gold is really important, because I think that may be the gap, Peter, when you mentioned that a lot of the spiritual community or new age is, oh, gold, forget about that, it's about giving and the golden heart, and I've heard that too as well. I think maybe it's just a lack of understanding. I think if all light workers and starseeds knew that gold came from exploding stars, for one, that's pretty awesome in itself. And for two, just to have that and have that vibration. If a true light worker and starseed understands vibration, then I think you really can tune into what we're talking about. Because it took me about a month, Peter, really, when you first told me about it, it took me about a month to understand it. I went to Orlando and met Cheryl Ann, and a lot of the top execs, and still didn't really quite get it. I spent the whole day with them in Orlando, and really it was on the ride home I got the download where it just hit me and was like, oh my God, I think I actually called you. And I said, oh my God, they figured it out. It's brilliant. What they figured out is a system to use gold to exchange for goods and services, and everyone who participates in that bartering system benefits from it in some way. Now, that's an amazing system. It's like drinking a bottle of Mona V. You remember the whole Mona V thing? If you drank a bottle of Mona V and got $5 every time you drank a bottle, Mona V would probably be as popular as it was 10 years ago. It's like things like that make this system really unique for employers, for this, for that. There's so many different facets to it. So it took me a good while to understand. I still don't understand the whole back end, but what I do understand is what they've done. They've brought back gold in small increments to allow people like myself, middle class, poor people, to have a gram of gold or a tenth of a gram. And we'll get into a little bit about that, about the actual notes that are coming out. I was actually able to see one in person and hold it. And these beautiful violet purple, gold currency notes that are coming out next month. So very exciting stuff. And when people really grasp what they've done psychologically, which is get people off the paper and onto the physical, that was enough for me alone, Peter, to move forward and set everything up under starseedgold.com and get involved with you and everyone else, because that is huge to get that mental shift for people back to physical anything. I mean, you could start with gold, but it goes to physical food growing in your house, physical water you're getting from natural springs. We're talking physically done, community, tribal, bringing that back to the roots, which is bartering with people, interacting with people. That's the huge thing about what I see with this bartering system is you use the gold at the salon or use the gold at your health food store. In that, you connect with other like-minded people and you start exchanging in a bartering system, which most of us have never even used or done before. So it does a lot on many different levels that I've noticed, and that's one of the reasons I jumped in on this. And it's been amazing. The more I learn about gold and just what it's doing, and this company is what they've done is just phenomenal. So it's really exciting, to say the least, to get involved with this now at the early stages, because we can see that this is definitely going to go up and up. And some of the information I've read about this company, what they've done is they've also used multi-dimensional, nanotechnology and DNA coding embedded in the gold. So that's a whole other side to things that I'm still trying to understand why they would do that. But I have some hunches on why, and that's also really cool if my hunches are correct. But they're doing some really, world-changing things, this company, and they're already in 124 countries. It's excelled extremely high compared to other gold companies around the world, what they've done in just 5 years. So it's very impressive.
Yeah. Yeah, and you were talking at the beginning of your introduction here. You were talking about during this time there's new systems of exchange and bartering, and we've been wondering what's the new system going to be like? How are we going to create a new world where it's more fair and whatnot? But I do believe Karatbars and the visionary behind it, Harold Seitz, and what he's doing, he's a light worker, starseed in disguise, and I really see the change agent he is, and there is a collective experience going on with Karatbars that I've never been a part of anything like it before. As you said, there's people involved with this gold now all over the world in 124 countries. We're growing rapidly. The company is exploding. around the world, more and more people are seeing what this is and are connecting into it. There's this great unifying gold energy vibration that's linking us all now. And I felt it as soon as I got involved and got my free account and started participating and learning. I felt a palpable new frequency that actually come into my body and into my mind and my spirit. And I felt it incredibly invigorating, enlivening, and stimulating. And I was like, wow, this is powerful. So I do believe that there's like a morphinogenic field, a collective unified field that we're all linking into here that's based on the frequency of gold, which is the highest frequency available to us here on Earth in physical form. And so I think this is a vehicle because so many of us are searching for a way to unify. We know that is the goal of this time, is to unify within the collective, resonant field of oneness with each other and with the cosmos. So I do believe, and the reason I got involved in it, because I don't do stuff like this. I'm a planetary healer, a transformational change agent, a star seed, a light worker. And everything I do has to have, essence of positive transformation involved. I don't do anything just for the money. I never have my whole life. And so I'm not going to get involved with carrot bars just for the money. There had to be an element of change in it and unity in it, and it is there. So I really want to encourage, your listeners and the audience today to take a look at this. This might be something that you've been looking for. It was for me and Jonah. And Jonah and I wouldn't put our stamp of approval on anything unless we truly believed that this was something of a positive influence for our communities. And so I would love for everybody to take a look at this and to link with us, because Jonah and I are committed. We're going for it. We've decided we've got skin in the game. We're going to go for this, and we're looking for our friends and associates and loved ones who want to go on this golden journey with us, because the vision that's being presented to us is one of extraordinary prosperity and abundance for all. And so don't take a look at this with an open mind. Don't project anything from past experiences onto this, because I can guarantee you it's like nothing you've ever seen or been part of. And so just a vote of encouragement for you to take a look at this. And Jonah's got all the links that will supply you the information so you can learn more.
Yeah, thank you for that, Peter. And I just want to say that I haven't mentioned, or I didn't talk to anyone about this for a good month, to be honest, when you first mentioned it, because I wanted to do my due diligence and I wanted to check it out. And I've had a few different gold people on my show. Anthony Blacard from Anthem Vault, CEO of one of the largest bullion dealers, and other people I've talked to. And I ran this company by everybody, and not one person had anything to say. In fact, I just spoke to a gentleman who was involved with this company for 4 years over the weekend. And after 4 years, he has nothing bad to say and nothing, and just all positive. He said you should definitely get involved. What they're doing is amazing. I mean, from every level that I've run this by and checked it out and did my due diligence the best I could, I got all positive feedback, and that's rare in itself. And at the oversight of it at the beginning, it looked like, I don't know what it really is, and it may look like this, may look like that. But when you really dove into it, I read the information on the website, and it talked about how the Magi, the ancient order of the Jedi from Egypt, brought gold to the East, and to raise the vibration and start learning more about gold and what it does metaphysically and what it can do. It started clicking in, and it started making sense on a much, much higher level. And even reading things like multi-dimensional nanotechnology and DNA technology, that's not something a normal company puts on their website, Peter. I mean, there's a little, a little golden token for you right there. It's, look at the company, look what they stand for. Look what they're saying, and look what they're doing. Actions speak louder than words. So when I really looked at the whole picture and learned about gold itself, it started to make sense. It took me about a month, but when I got it, I was like, oh my God, they've launched a new system, international bartering system backed by gold, goods and services, everyone benefits from one aspect of using the system. You're interacting with people. I mean, it's a great starting point to get the old system of fiat paper onto something new. And when I really talk to people about this, Peter, and I give them the pitch, and I go through my whole spiel, the people, and there's only been 2 so far that actually got it right away, and they said, how much can I put in? How much money can I put in? That is the correct answer, because someone who gets this knows that paper money, that paper dollar, that fiat currency the bankers created out of thin air is not going to last, and it's not going to be around forever. And we see clear signs of that happening right now. So anyone who is business oriented and really takes a look at this, for one, gold itself has been running dry many places. UBS sold out of gold, one of the largest gold dealers in the world, a few months ago. I mean, so this is high in demand, and not just any gold, but 999.9% pure gold is what we're talking about, not 18 or 24. We're talking about the purest of the pure, and that is special, and it's unique, and it holds that vibration that we talked about today in the show, and it is truly something that can radically shift you and your family's life. Not even saying you're going to be on some crazy gold journey the rest of your life, but psychologically what it does is starts reprogramming and educating you and your family and your community towards the simpler systems that have worked for thousands of years, not the falsely created fiat systems that are not working for the people. So that in itself is why I've been so excited about it. It's a new system. I'm into new technologies, new systems, new education, sustainable projects, anything to help get us off the old system and onto the new. Starseed is about, I'm about, and this is just one more amazing system that people can jump into right now and take part in it, and benefit from it in many, many ways, more than what we've even mentioned today. So it's very exciting. Again, you can check out starseedgold.com. There's information there, and if you sign up for a free account, it takes you to the parent corporate site. You can read all about it, do your research, contact me direct if you have any questions. You can email the show or email me direct. And get involved. It's really an exciting thing to be part of systems like this and many others that are coming across the planet, Peter. It's really, really awesome. And thank you again for introducing me to this. It's been quite a learning curve, and the learning has just been excelled the last few weeks. The more excited I get about knowing gold came from the stars, from exploding stars, and this company is about using multidimensional technologies and things like that. That's right up my alley. So I've been really excited about sharing this with others and getting more involved as we move forward. And then we have the gold actual paper currency coming out. So that's going to be real exciting.
Yeah, let me just say that, for your listeners out there, think, this sounds expensive to me. You can actually sign up and get a free account. And so there's no obligation. And also, they don't take your Social Security or number or anything. So this is completely offshore, but you can start with a free account. And Jonathan and I are building a huge team. So if you're listening, I want to encourage you to just go to Jonah's starseedgold.com. Click the link there and sign up for your free account, because what this will do, this will reserve your position in Jonah's team, and that'll give you time. Your spot will be saved, and then we're going to build underneath you, even while you have a free account. This will give you time to do your research, to check it all up. But in the meantime, your spot is reserved, and there's going to be a team built underneath you automatically. The system works quite amazing. Things are moving really fast, so you want to make sure you still get the free account.
Excellent. Yeah, thanks so much, Peter. Again, check out starseedgold.com. This is Peter Sterling from Pure Music. Thank you so much.
No hate, no hype, no fear. We are EFR, your protection from deception.
Welcome. We are broadcasting live from the mothership. You are tuned in and listening to Starseed Energy Radio with your host, Jonah Bolt. Starseed Energy Radio, where you can always tune in to hear the colors and see the music. Starseed Energy Radio goes live in 3, 2, 1.
All right, what's up, Spaceship Earth? Thanks for tuning in. You are now receiving a live transmission from Starseed Radio, where you can always tune in to hear the colors and see the music. I'm your host, Jonah Bolt, the Octorian Starseed. Today is November 3rd, 2005, and being an artist, but also on his amazing path and history of bringing enlightenment through his music to so many around the world, which is why he joined us last time for our very special 9/11, a tribute to 9/11 show we did with Richard Schulman. And what an amazing show it was. He played the harp live on the air. And with that, thank you again, Peter, for joining us on Starseed Radio. How are you today?
I'm very good. Thank you, Jonah, for such a stellar introduction there. I appreciate that.
Absolutely, and thank you for just all the amazing work and service you're doing around the planet, and the amazing gold that we're going to be talking about today that has been reintroduced, I should say, into people's lives. It's an amazing thing we'll be talking about. But before we get started with that, Peter, I'd like to just take a few minutes, if you would, and just give everyone a brief history about you yourself, your awakening, and then how you got into your music and artwork, and then we can carry that into the present. But just a little brief history, Peter, just so people have a background. As well as the last website I want to give out is starseedgold.com, where you could sign up for a free gold savings account. Contact me direct if you have any more questions on that. Check out starseedgold.com. Now to get started with our daily quote of the day, I found this one because over the weekend in the U.S., they set the clocks back, I believe, or forward. I'm not sure. They don't do that here in Costa Rica. I'm not sure why we do it in the U.S. I think it's for farmers, I believe, something like that. But the quote goes like this: I will not turn back my clocks. I will then be living 1 hour in the future. I greet you, people of the past. Your ways are quaint. That quote is by an anonymous person on memegenerator.net. And with that, we're going to introduce our special guest of the show. I asked Peter Sterling to come on today. Peter has been a guest of Starseed Radio before and always has some amazing information, giving us the breakdown of not just his amazing playing of the harp and music. 15, I can't believe we're already in November. The time is flying by. We are broadcasting live from the beautiful Parita in Costa Rica on the Pacific coast. Up in the mountains, beautiful, lush, green jungle and rainforest. So good to be back. We have a great show lined up for you today. We're going to be doing a special series on gold, the properties of gold, the abundance it can create, all the history of gold over the next few days. We're going to be joined by several different people talking about some amazing new gold exchange systems, the history of gold, and focusing a lot on this amazing, as I'm learning, this amazing mineral and element. With that, before we get started, just want to give a couple of shout-outs. Check out starseedradio.com for the latest news and updates, as well as check out Starseed Technologies for some of our latest new technologies we are representing. And email us if you want some information on some free energy. You can fill out the form at starseedtechnologies.com. Background on your amazing work and path that you've been traveling so far.
Okay. Well, I'm talking to you today from Sedona, Arizona, from the powerful red rocks here, from the planetary vortex of Sedona. And I've been living here for several years, actually on and off for 25 years. And, you know, so much has happened to me in my life. I actually wrote a book about my journey called Hearing the Angels Sing. That's on Amazon. You can see it there. But I was lucky. I had a grandmother who was a mystic, and she was a soul traveler. And so ever since I was a young boy, she started whispering things into my ear to help me to tune in. One of the main things she told me, Jonah, was to listen to your inner voice. She always told me that ever since I was young, listen to your inner voice. And so I've been tuning into that for a long time, and it's led me down quite a remarkable path of discovery. But in most recent times,